1. Introduction. ROSEP view. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only. For home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable. Wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree, but it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM 2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lungs, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM 2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM 2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom, the Eco-Design Wood Stove, and International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. ROSEP view. Purple air. PM 2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM 2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM 2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.
Hi, my name is Lily. Andrew gave you the intro to residents against wood smoke emission particulates and their concern for air pollution from indoor residential wood burning. Residents against wood smoke emission particulates, or ROSEP, would like every near neighbor of an indoor residential wood burner whose wood smoke enters their yards and sickens the near neighbors to have a purple air PM 2.5 monitor hanging from the eaves of their home to measure the level of PM 2.5 entering their yards. That measurement of air pollution should be used as evidence of unnecessary air pollution, and each indoor residential wood burner should be shut down based on that evidence, one indoor residential wood burner at a time if necessary. The presentation by Andrew ended at 2 minutes 5 seconds. The same presentation by Emma starts at 2 minutes 3 seconds before the end of this podcast. So I am Lily, your timekeeper, and you can start the next podcast at 2 minutes 5 seconds in if you would not like to see the presentation by Andrew a second time. This presentation by me, Lily, ends at 5 minutes in. What you will see in the main content of this ROSEP podcast will be news about air pollution from indoor residential wood burning and how that air pollution is being combated by ordinary people just like you who are unfortunately near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners at this time. There will also be news about unnecessary and highly polluting use of wood as fuel in industrial wood burners and preventable air pollution from wood burning wildfires. There will also be news about air pollution from PM 2.5 from gas-powered cars. There will also be news about airborne diseases which are also preventable with vaccines such as COVID-19 and measles and whooping cough, to name just a few. In 2025, residents against wood smoke emission particulates is also concerned with combating the Trump destruction of government funding for programs which protect human health through the Department of Health and Human Services, and Trump destruction of programs which fund the science and medical research plan to protect human health from preventable illnesses. Protecting human health is a patriotic act, and our defense against enemies is weakened if we are not as healthy as we can be. Heat pump rebates are now offered by the federal government, distributed through the eligible United States, are available in 2025 and are the best, cleanest, and now cheapest alternative to indoor residential wood burning if that burning is actually done to purportedly save money. Wind and solar as sources of the electricity that powers heat pumps and electric cars is also cheaper than burning wood. The adverse health effects that are caused by indoor residential wood burning also come at a cost to near neighbors, both in shortening and ending their lives and in actual hospital, clinic, and funeral costs. Instead of being compensated monetarily, near neighbors should instead be able to achieve immediate relief by stopping indoor residential wood burning in their hyper-localized neighborhoods, which relief readings from purple air PM 2.5 monitors used as evidence of air pollution will help them achieve. Welcome to news about hopeful scientific and medical achievements that will also help us achieve the goal of clean air to breathe.
Webisode 57DHXZQ November 23, 2025 Fossil fuel era closer to ending Marjorie T Green leaving. In Webisode 57DHXZQ 1 Marjorie Taylor Greene, leaving House and Trump-Epstein fallout Georgia voters stand by Greene, but Greene is not staying to lead any resistance to Trump policies. One article in The Guardian is titled Marjorie Taylor Greene could have led the resistance against Trump, but the mob boss got his way too. A Brazil COP30 fossil fuel era closer to ending in spite of lack of language in agreements. A smoky but small fire extinguished in 6 minutes at the COP30 conference highlights how Brazil is fighting climate change in the Amazon one fire at a time. It would be interesting to find out who the arsonist was at COP30, or if it was an accidental fire. If arson, that action resulting in smoke pollution that caused the COP30 auditorium to evacuate, is similar to indoor residential wood burning. Rozep view: just do not burn wood to begin with. Just do not set the COP30 pavilion on fire to begin with. Just do not continue the harmful activities that make Amazon forest burning more predictable, such as farmers clearing land for agriculture by burning fields or forests. 2B COP30 was led by current Brazilian President Lula, but at the same time a former disgraced Brazilian president and friend of Trump Jair Bolsonaro attempted to flee before his scheduled imprisonment and was caught. 3A for Ukraine: there was European support and some G20 support, as US seems to withdraw support for Ukraine. 3B last week Poland was also directly threatened by Russian aggression. 1 article headline in The Guardian is titled Polish Prime Minister PM says it would be good to know who wrote plan to end war in Ukraine amid concerns over Moscow involvement. 4 animation is tool of artificial intelligence that allows anyone to make lifelike images to express political points of view. Artificial intelligence can also be used to talk to whales. 4. U.S. Supreme Court allows Texas Republican gerrymandering when blocking lower court decision, at least temporarily. 5. Missouri grassroots effort to collect signatures to repeal Republican gerrymandering, spending by Republicans to stop this. Missouri grassroots effort reminds Rozep of the spring 2025 Wisconsin Supreme Court race. 6. Nigel Farage: early Nazi enthusiasm mimics Trump enthusiasm. 7. There is something called a just-in-case MRI which use does not necessarily set off alarm bells, such as in the case of Trump. 8. Music literature and reporting of true facts bolsters the spirits of the average citizen. Headlines main content. 2. Brazil stopping the greatest threat to the Amazon one fire at a time. After 4 decades of research, a scientist returns to the Amazon in an effort to change the behavior that has led to years of environmental crisis. Rozep view: the fact that burning of wood emits 90% PM2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometers, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths, is not mentioned in this article. Burning of any wood, whether in Amazon farm fields or forests or indoor residential wood burning, also produces CO2, which hastens climate change. Also not mentioned in this article is that PM2.5 also hastens climate change. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity in relationship to Residents Against Wood Smoke Emission Particulates, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The New York Times November 22, 2025. A researcher first set fire to the Amazon rainforest in 1985 after years of experiments, including numerous attempts to intentionally light the Amazon aflame. He arrived at a surprising conclusion: forests are pretty hard to burn down. Much has changed since then as climate change has pushed global temperatures to record levels. The Amazon has become increasingly combustible, creating years of rolling environmental crisis. On top of that, the vast majority of fires in the Amazon are set by humans, particularly by farmers clearing land for agriculture. Fire begets fire. In 2025, a record amount of tropical primary forests burned around the globe, according to the World Economic Forum, 5 times as much as the 2024 level of forest loss in the Amazon. Fires consumed an area larger than California. Now the researcher is returning to the Amazon to try to stop fires in a region that scientists have identified as a critical bulwark against global warming. Fire is the biggest threat to the Amazon, but it is also a problem that is possible to solve. This is the biggest climate solution that could happen over the next few years. Working through his own nonprofit organization, the Earth Innovation Institute, along with a coalition of other groups, local business leaders, and international research groups, the researcher is trying to encourage small shifts in behavior that might help stop fires before they begin. The changes he is asking farmers to make can be modest: planting different crops, letting forests return, and pooling resources to afford machinery that can clear land instead of resorting to intentional burns. Yet in the aggregate, he believes these modifications can have a major effect. On a recent weekend ahead of his participation COP30, the United Nations Climate Summit in Belém, Brazil, the tropical ecologist returned to Paragominas, the city where he began his research 41 years ago. He and his team spent days traveling to remote farms with just a few dozen head of cattle into large ranches with thousands of cows, explaining how different farming practices could reduce the risk of fire and help land be more resilient when flames arrive. Fires in Brazil have grown worse in recent years. Last year, they swept across the Pantanal, the largest wetlands in the world, after seasonal rains failed to materialize. Last year, a record number of fires charred the Amazon. 5 years earlier, in 2019, another bad fire season consumed vast tracts of land. When agricultural land burns, it affects the livelihoods of the more than 40 million people who live in the Amazon. The fires also release vast quantities of stored carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, accelerating global warming. This marks a stark reversal of an age-old trend. In recent centuries, the Amazon acted like a filter, absorbing many of the planet-warming emissions from the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. But some of this area is no longer a reliable carbon sink. In recent years, parts of the Amazon that have been developed into farmland, including the area where the researcher started his career, now produce more carbon dioxide than they absorb. Left unchecked, scientists warn that the loss of Amazon to fire and deforestation could lead to irreversible changes changes leading to much of the forest giving way to grasslands and further accelerating global temperature rise. 5 Missouri This Is Not Right, a grassroots campaign aims to repeal gerrymandering by Missouri Republicans. A new congressional map was abruptly passed by Republicans in the middle of September 2025, but voters have a chance to rebuke politicians and stop it from going into effect. Excerpts edited by Rozep for brevity and clarity in relationship to residents against wood smoke emission particulates. 501c3 nonprofit organization, The Guardian, November 22, 2025. A woman is the president of the Randolph County Democrat Club, and Randolph County is just about as Republican as you can get. Trump won the county, Randolph County, by more than 50 points in the 2016, 2020, and 2024 elections. He also handily carried the state of Missouri in all 3 elections at the request of Donald Trump. Republicans called a special legislative session and carved out the Kansas City congressional district of longtime Democratic Representative Emanuel Cleaver and replaced it with a Republican one. It was part of a nationwide push by Trump to get about half a dozen states controlled by Republicans at the state level to rejigger maps to find more GOP seats ahead of the 2026 midterms. But Missouri offers something distinct: a chance for voters to rebuke politicians and stop the map from going into effect. A provision added to the Missouri Constitution in 1908 allows voters to pause most enacted laws from going into effect and put them up for a referendum if voters gather enough signatures. Since 1908, Missouri voters have used the citizens' veto process about 24 or around 24 times in 117 years. In nearly every case, voters have chosen to repeal the statute. They have been asked to vote on the Missouri legislature approved the map in the middle of September, and Governor Mike Kehoe, a Republican, signed it into law at the end of the September. The woman and her husband and canvassers across Missouri have until December 11, 2025 to turn in more than 106,000 signatures that must come from 6 of the 8 congressional districts of Missouri. If they can, the new map will be on hold until voters decide whether to adopt it in a 2026 referendum. Canvassers say they have already collected more than 200,000 signatures and say they plan to turn in more. We turn in signatures. The map goes on hold, said the executive director of People, Not Politicians, the group leading the signature gathering effort. The Missouri effort is being closely watched amid a middle-of-the-decade redistricting war between Democrats and Republicans that will shape which party controls the U.S. House of Representatives. Republicans currently have a 3-seat majority that is as thin as a razor, but have redrawn congressional districts in Missouri, Texas, and North Carolina to add as many as 7 seats. Breaking news is that the Texas map was recently struck down by a 3-judge panel, but the U.S. Supreme Court temporarily halted the ruling on Friday, November 21, 2025. While an appeal is pending, Democrats are poised to counter those gains with their own redrawn maps in California and Virginia. Recognizing the huge consequences of the Missouri effort, outside groups have poured money into the campaign. Committees on both sides have raised about $7 million, which includes funds from national Republicans opposing the effort. Recognizing the likelihood of the new map being blocked, Republicans have launched a great effort to halt the referendum. Missouri Secretary of State Denny Hoskins, a Republican, is trying to get more than 90,000 signatures thrown out. A group funded by the Republican National Committee recently sent out a text message encouraging people to withdraw their signatures on the petitions. The Missouri Attorney General has also filed a separate lawsuit based on a fringe legal theory, arguing that the state legislature has the exclusive power to draw congressional districts, so it cannot be overturned through a citizen's veto. A shadowy group has offered canvassers $5,000 to stop collecting signatures. Rozep view offering voters money to stop collecting signatures reminds Rozep of the effort of Elon Musk to offer potential voters the chance of winning money if potential voters signed a petition and attended a Republican rally held before the spring 2025 Supreme Court race in Wisconsin. Rozep view AI overview in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race in spring 2025. Elon Musk and his affiliated groups significantly contributed to the campaign of conservative candidate Brad Schimmel. The Musk Political Action Committee America PAC was the largest donor, contributing over $12 million to the Schimmel campaign. Additionally, the Musk organization Building America's Future contributed nearly $6 million. The race has become the most expensive judicial contest in U.S. history, with total spending nearing $100 million. The Musk involvement underscores his political influence and his support for Schimmel, who is backed by Trump and other Republican figures. In spring 2025, Elon Musk offered potential voters in Wisconsin a chance to win $1 million checks by signing a petition opposing activist judges. The offer was part of a campaign to influence the outcome of the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, which was pivotal for the control of the judiciary in the state of Wisconsin. The petition did not name any candidates on the Wisconsin ballot, and the offer was made to voters who had already signed the petition. This initiative was part of a broader strategy to sway voter opinions and influence the election results. Headlines: The New York Times, November 23, 2025. Artificial intelligence: what OpenAI did when ChatGPT users lost touch with reality. The New York Times, Belgium: ordinary people asked for their opinions. Democracy is in trouble. This region is turning to its people. The New York Times: consumers reading opinion listening to a book counts as reading. The New York Times: Madagascar: nature lemurs in Madagascar face an unexpected killer. The New York Times: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump Epstein fallout. For Marjorie Taylor Greene, a rough education in MAGA politics. The New York Times: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump Epstein fallout. Georgia voters stand by Marjorie Taylor Greene after she stood up to Trump. The New York Times: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump Epstein fallout. Lawrence Krauss, Martin Nowak, the professors who stayed close with Epstein. The New York Times: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Trump Epstein fallout. Trump economy opinion: how the elite behave when no one is watching. Inside the Epstein emails. The New York Times: music drumbeat: why that Whitney Houston drumbeat is so addictive yet hard to match. The New York Times North Dakota writes for women abortion is once again illegal in North Dakota. The New York Times Oceans Nature Artificial Intelligence opinion, how to use artificial intelligence to talk to whales. The New York Times recipes, favorite Thanksgiving recipes our readers make year after year. NYT cooking recipes, vegetarian Thanksgiving recipes. Thanksgiving recipes. NYT cooking. Texas men plotted coup of Haitian Island to enslave women and children. US says the New York Times Trump economy, a swath of bank customer data was hacked. The FBI is investigating the New York Times Trump economy. A tap to pay society is leaving these New Yorkers behind. The New York Times Trump economy doulas provide crucial care to mothers. Medicaid cuts could change that. The New York Times Trump economy fact-checking the Trump latest claims on affordability. The New York Times Trump economy opinion, the America housing crisis in one chart. The New York Times Trump economy opinion, how can anyone seriously doubt Meta is a monopoly? The New York Times Trump economy, U.S. manufacturers to benefit as GE Appliances shifts production. The New York Times Trump military opinion, Trump has put the military in an impossible situation. The New York Times Ukraine and Russian occupied Mariupol, everything Ukrainian must go. The New York Times Ukraine, U.S. will meet about the Trump peace plan to end war with Russia. The New York Times headlines. The New York Times November 22, 2025 COP30 stopping the greatest threat to the Amazon, one fire at a time. The New York Times COP30 climate summit ends with dire warnings and scant plans for action. The New York Times G20 leaders push back on the Trump-Ukraine peace plan. The New York Times Jair Bolsonaro arrested in Brazil amid fears he might flee to avoid prison. The New York Times Marjorie Taylor Greene Trump Epstein fallout in the House, censures proliferate reflecting a poisonous climate. The New York Times Marjorie Taylor Greene Trump Epstein fallout. The Marjorie Taylor Greene resignation hints at divisions in the Trump movement. The New York Times Marjorie Taylor Greene Trump Epstein fallout opinion, Trump says the Epstein documents will hurt Democrats too. Maybe that is a good thing. The New York Times Trump economy opinion, Trump is mired in a war of attrition. The New York Times Trump economy, the Federalist Society is torn between its legal philosophy and the Trump demands. The New York Times Trump I as example, the rise of the just in case MRI. The New York Times Ukraine opinion, the Trump proposed Ukraine deal is a disgrace. The New York Times Ukraine opinion, what will it really take to end the war in Ukraine? The New York Times Ukraine, U.S. and Ukrainian officials to meet again on U.S. peace plan. The New York Times headlines. The Guardian November 23, 2025 consumers true crime films Murder Inc. How my failed attempt to make a Zodiac killer film took me to the dark heart of the true crime industry. Documentary. The Guardian COP30 watered down agreements will do little for an ecosystem at tipping point. COP30. The Guardian COP30 end of fossil fuel era inches closer as COP30 deal agreed after bitter standoff. COP30. The Guardian COP30 Trump war absent media, 5 threats to climate progress that dogged COP30. The Guardian fashion Trump economy mega is in meltdown over a preppy pink sweater for men. So what exactly is the problem? Ellie Violet Bramley. The Guardian Germany things that disappear by Jenny Erpenbeck review. A kaleidoscopic study of transients essays. The Guardian Marjorie Taylor Greene Trump Epstein fallout. Trump economy ignorance is bliss. Right-wing media largely keeps quiet on Trump Epstein saga. Jeffrey Epstein. The Guardian Marjorie Taylor Greene Trump Epstein fallout. Politicians shocked by the Marjorie Taylor Greene surprise resignation announcement. Marjorie Taylor Greene. The Guardian Marjorie Taylor Greene Trump Epstein fallout. Trump news at a glance. Marjorie Taylor Greene is gone, but Trump wonders for how long. Trump administration. The Guardian music Stevie Nicks review. Rock legend dazzles Brooklyn with anecdotes and classic hit. Stevie Nicks. The Guardian Nigeria security fears rise in Nigeria after more than 300 schoolchildren kidnapped. Nigeria. The Guardian RFK Jr. lack of medicine and science. 5 key findings from our investigation into the Free Birth Society childbirth. The Guardian Trump economy. What 5 theories to explain the Donald Zorin meet cute Dave Schilling. The Guardian Trump economy. Who contain Trump? An unlikely candidate is emerging. The Catholic Church. Simon Tisdall. The Guardian Trump military. Horribly wrong. U.S. veterans condemn the Trump politicization of military. U.S. military. The Guardian Ukraine Trump says Ukraine deal is not final offer as officials gather for Geneva summit. Ukraine. The Guardian Ukraine war briefing. Macron says without deterrence in Ukraine plan Russians will come back. Russia. The Guardian Ukraine Europe and the world Western leaders at G20 say U.S. peace plan for Ukraine will require work. G20 The Guardian Ukraine and Poland Polish PM says it would be good to know who wrote plan to end war in Ukraine amid concerns over Moscow involvement. Live headlines. The Guardian November 22, 2025 animation. I prepared for the role by playing in my room the making of Toy Story. As it turns 30 Toy Story, The Guardian artificial intelligence. Meet the AI workers who tell their friends and family to stay away from AI artificial intelligence. AI. The Guardian Australia tattoo removal from former Nazis to refugees and DV victims. Tattoo removal is giving Australians a second chance. Tattoos. The Guardian California beaches. The Santa Monica shine has dimmed. Can a bold reset revive the fortunes of the beach city? California. The Guardian Columbia Nature Military. Can a wildlife paradise on a Colombian island survive the arrival of a military-based marine life? The Guardian Consumers reading 6 great reads. The scariest CEO in the world. Gen Z in the workplace and a lost great console. The Guardian COP30 live deal agreed at COP after long negotiations. COP30 roadmaps adaptations and transitions. What climate measures were agreed at COP30? The Guardian Europe Trump tariffs. EU and US to restart trade talks as sticking points on July tariff deal remain international trade. The Guardian France. The French people want to save us. Help pours in for glassmaker Duralex. France. The Guardian gifts 28 of the best gifts for US kids 5 to 8 picked by kids themselves. Toys. The Guardian gifts the 163 best holiday gift ideas for 2025 vetted by the Guardian US staff. Gift ideas from the filter US. The Guardian Greece artificial intelligence. Greek secondary school teachers to be trained in using AI in classroom. Greece. The Guardian Jair Bolsonaro prison sentence. An attempt to flee. Brazilian police arrest Bolsonaro amid suspicions he was about to flee. Jair Bolsonaro. The Guardian Kennedys Environmentalist granddaughter of JFK Tatiana Schlossberg, granddaughter of JFK, announces terminal cancer diagnosis. The Kennedys. The Guardian. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump Epstein fallout. Trump economy. Rozep view. Imagine Trump is the highly sensitive person. It is easy if you try. From the article headline, being labeled a highly sensitive person was validating and empowering until it was not health and well-being. The Guardian. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump Epstein fallout. Chomsky had deeper ties with Epstein than previously known. Documents revealed Jeffrey Epstein. The Guardian. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump Epstein fallout from staunch Trump ally to traitor. Key takeaways of the Marjorie Taylor Greene career. Marjorie Taylor Greene. The Guardian. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump Epstein fallout. Trump economy. Ignorance is bliss. Right-wing media largely keeps quiet on Trump Epstein saga. Jeffrey Epstein. The Guardian. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump Epstein fallout. Trump economy. Less politics, more makeup. The unraveling of teen Vogue under Trump 2.0. Vogue. The Guardian. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump Epstein fallout. Marjorie Taylor Greene could have led the resistance against Trump, but the mob boss got his way. Marjorie Taylor Greene. The Guardian. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump Epstein fallout. Marjorie Taylor Greene to resign from Congress in January amid fallout with Trump. Marjorie Taylor Greene. The Guardian. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump Epstein fallout. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Trump Epstein fallout. Why is Ghislaine Maxwell getting the club fed treatment? Arwa Madawi. The Guardian. Missouri. This is not right. Grassroots campaign aims to repeal the gerrymandering of Missouri. Republicans. Missouri. The Guardian. Music. Brandi Carlile. I am in a sweet spot. My kids are little. My wife is hot. And my body does not hurt. Life and style. The Guardian. Music. United Kingdom. Rocky Horror creator Richard O'Brien. The Spice Girls could not sing, but lovely. Girls movies. The Guardian. Norway. I knew I was doing something I should not. Karlov Nosgard on the fallout from my struggle and the dark side of ambition. Karlov Nosgard. The Guardian. Texas Republican redistricting affirms Supreme Court blocks order that found Texas congressional map was likely racially biased. U.S. Supreme Court. The Guardian. Trump economy. Meet the conservative lawyer causing headaches for major news networks. Media. The Guardian. Trump economy. What will a ban on most U.S. hemp products mean? U.S. News. The Guardian. Ukraine. They decided to kill us with cold. Ukrainian struggle against Russian assault on power network. Ukraine. The Guardian. United Kingdom far-right reform party resembling Trump MAGA movement. Nigel Farage. Rozep. An inquiring mind wants to know, does Farage have Nazi tattoos acquired in his youth like some right-wing youth today in Australia? From the article headline, 20 people allege he has a racist past. He denies it. Who is telling the truth about the Farage school days? Nigel Farage. The Guardian.
Red Green Fox here. The quick red green fox jumped over the barriers to clean air. Red Green Fox here. Ready to sing to you the names of the 2025 major wood-burning biomass industry subsidy opponents. 1. Biofuel Watch. 2. Bulkley Valley Stewardship Coalition of British Columbia, Canada. 3. Comite Schoen Luft, which means Beautiful Air Committee in German. 4. Dogwood Alliance. 5. Equity Group Foundation, nicknamed EGF. 6. Environmental Paper Network, nicknamed EPN. 7. Natural Resources Defense Council, nicknamed NRDC. 8. Prakaunia Narzek Wissenskip Istet, which means Workshop for All Beings in Polish. 9. Rachel Carson Council. 10. Solutions for Our Climate, nicknamed SFOC.
Cat's corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. Saying the quiet part out loud. Roar. Hi, I am Tiger. Our human asked us to get up from our naps and start Cat's Corner strategy with Tiger and Leone. She gave us a list of internet allies which we will post for her here.
Hi, I am Leone. It is better for your mental fitness to go to these websites than to go to bro sites for advice. Substack letters from an American Heather Cox Richardson. Substack your local epidemiologist. The Midas Touch. The Guardian. The New York Times.
One introduction. Rozep view. The United States government was on track in the Biden administration to reduce the prices for both clean energy heat pumps and clean energy electric cars. Trump tariffs are expected to upset those plans to prevent future air pollution and prevent climate change. The United States government should, instead of certifying wood stoves as safe when they are not safe, go forward with regulations that ban wood stove use and direct government money for use of forest refuse only for home building and furniture building. For just a few examples of use of forest products for non-burning uses, it is well known from scientific and medical research that wood burning is a substantial source of PM 2.5 emissions, yet the wood burning industry uses the scientifically debunked theory named carbon neutrality of wood burning to argue that wood burning replacing coal burning in industry, and in a trickle-down argument that wood burning should continue for home heating should continue. Presumably because it is called renewable, wood may be renewable in the sense that a tree can be planted in the place of a cut-down burned tree. But it takes centuries or decades for the newly planted tree to attain the stature of the cut-down burned tree. During those centuries or decades, photosynthesis, which converts CO2 to oxygen, and so sequesters some carbon, will not take place at the same rate as photosynthesis was performed previously, and wood burning emits both CO2 and PM 2.5, and PM 2.5 is not absorbed by trees, so PM 2.5 is not diminished by planting a tree in the place of a cut-down and burned tree. In fact, a living tree closes its pores against the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning, just as humans hold their breath in the presence of PM 2.5 from nearby wood burning. And when a tree closes its pores, the level of photosynthesis that absorbs CO2 pollution goes down. Wood burning emits 90% PM2.5 particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, the perfect size to infiltrate the human lung, setting off a cascade of human health problems and early deaths. Contrary to many beliefs, wood burning emits 2.8 times the PM2.5 as the fossil fuel coal burning, and wood burning emits 450 times the PM2.5 as the fossil fuel natural gas burning. Replacing coal burning with wood burning creates more air pollution in the form of CO2 and PM2.5 than coal burning. This emission data comes from testing the cleanest burning wood stove in the United Kingdom. The Eco-Design Wood Stove and International Convention does not count the emissions from wood burning. The emissions from wood burning are erased from all countries around the world when calculating if each country has met its climate goals. This non-counting or erasure of wood burning emissions data from climate goals does not mean wood burning emissions do not exist. ROSEPView purple air PM2.5 monitors hanging from the eaves of the house of a near neighbor should be used to measure the level of PM2.5 in the air hyperlocally in the yards of near neighbors of indoor residential wood burners. If PM2.5 levels exceed World Health Organization standards of 5 micrograms per cubic meter annually, then that evidence of air pollution from wood burning should lead to the shutdown of that indoor residential wood burning appliance, one appliance at a time if necessary.